Singing Nettles, presented by Hidden Hollow Holistics. My name is Juanita. You can call me Wani. My work centers around life, loss, and liminality, honoring the transitions and transformations that define our human experience. I often reflect on the kind of person I want to be and how I want to show up in the world. Lately, my thoughts have circled around community, what it truly means to me, and how I want to show up in both a way that is meaningful and sustainable. Sharing is an act of care, a way of tending to our neighbors and weaving strong connections between us. In that spirit, I wanted to offer something that is accessible to all, something that sparks curiosity, invites exploration, and reminds us that the land we walk holds medicine for us all. This is a local plant that is at least local to me. It's found in many places in the United States and actually across the world. These plants that I share often sit quietly beside us, offering us support in countless ways. My hope is that this offering empowers you to reconnect not just with these specific plants and not just with the plants around you, but with the wisdom carried in your own lineages. May it remind you that somewhere in your own history, your ancestors learned at the feet of those who root deeply in the same soil, guided by the stories, the seasons, and the spirit of the land. And may it inspire you to share that wisdom forward, creating a ripple of remembrance and resilience in a world that so desperately needs it. Because let us not forget that during the Great Depression, it was the worker cooperatives and mutual aid that sustained entire communities. So this is stinging nettle, Urtica dioica. Dioica. So the botanical name is very important because there are, as you can see, so many different type of common names. Botanical names are Latin, and so how the pronunciation is, I'm still working on my Latin. Um, the family is Urdiaceae. The parts we generally work with are the young growth, tops. So those are those tops, the leaf, seed, and root. There's the identification that I've also included, mostly because as herbalists, you tend to forage a lot of these. There are places that you can buy nettle leaf, but I really enjoy foraging it. I encourage people to kind of get out there, get to know the plants, especially this one, as once you engage and touch the plants, you will never ever forget them again. It does sting. It has stingers that you will see these tiny little hairs that are covering the leaves and even the stem. There are these tiny little fruits that look like tiny little lentils. They will eventually become seeds when they mature. For me, when I think of nettle, I think of restoration. So it is a herb that I really work a lot with as I'm transitioning from winter into spring. So I have been really working a lot with it as of late, as this is the season of transition. Um, it is a herb that is deeply nourishing, rich in vitamins and minerals that can replenish the body. It supports energy restoration and physical grounding, fostering resilience and vitality. As we move through these slides, some of the things to kind of keep in mind and think about is how nettle can aid the replenishing of not just the body, but the spirit as well during periods of rest and reflections. And as humans are anchoring themselves in cycles of renewal. When we did a little close up here, because I really wanted to show these tiny little hairs that you can see on the nettle plants and these little fruits that it will eventually become tiny seeds that you can also work with. But these tiny little hairs look like nothing. Some plants you may see the same thing and they would never sting you, but these will. And there are people that intentionally work with these little stingers, and we'll get more into that later. So, as early as the 16th and 17th centuries, nettle fabric was the textile choice for Scottish households and linen. The Roman soldiers are said to have brought their own nettle to the British Isles to treat their tired and painful legs on long marches in cold and wet climate by eutrophication. And this stimulated circulation. Documents have also been found among the Ecuador Indians, ancient Romans, and the Canadian American native tribes using it the same way. Some say the name nettle comes from Anglo-Saxon word nettle, which may come from the word noeldel, no, noel, noeldel, noeldel, meaning needle, as the sharp prickles that give this green ally its sting. Nettles make such strong fiber that excavation of a 2,000-year-old tomb has unearthed clothing made from the nettle still intact, which I find absolutely amazing. I think this speaks to the strength and power of nettle to weave health and resilience into our very selves. So, definitely we see its use all over. This definitely has a lot of qualities and actions that can be helpful for us humans. So it is a cool, dry. Generally speaking, when we talk about energetics, these are the actions it can bring to the table. So if you are for example, a hot, moist person, this is a plant that may be very beneficial in helping to counter, like balance those actions out. The taste of it is very earthy, salty, very umami. I've also listed its herbal actions. So, as a diuretic, this increases the drainage of accumulated fluid in the tissues. It enhances like the flow of urine. Diuretics tend to be constitutionally drying. It's a nutritive, which means it provides minerals, vitamins, phytonutrients, and nourishing to tissues, organs, and various systems in the body. Nutritives are a foundation of vitalist medicine. It's an alternative, having a steady, moderative, reliable, long-term effect on specific organs, systems, or on the entire body. It improves the assimilation of nutrients, enhances detoxification, and it is also an adaptogen, which are plants and mushrooms that can help your body respond to stress, anxiety, fatigue, and overall well-being. It's got anti-inflammatory actions. It has the antihistamine actions, which can really help people manage their allergy symptoms. It's definitely another reason that we see it in the spring. It's an astringent, which means it's got this firming, invigorating effect on the tissue, usually cooling, drying, draining. So definitely has a lot of actions that can be really helpful. The rubification is a topical agent that attracts blood to the area. So it stimulates circulation, detoxification of the tissues and the tissue fluids. So, subtle body support is an area that I really like to focus on personally. In terms of the subtle body, Nettle's energy is invigorating. It is also able to cleanse and purify. It interacts with like the root and sacral chakras, helping to move stagnant energy and encourage flow. When I think about its role as a diuretic, that draining fluid is very helpful when you think of that, or as a rubification, the stimulating or circulation, detoxification, which can be especially beneficial when navigating those emotional blockages that often arise during moments of grief or loss. Like, those are how I kind of tie those things together, is how it affects the physical body is in many ways how it can affect the emotional body, the energetic body, the spiritual body. Its actions on the kidneys and adrenals can support the physical body's response to stress, which is particularly important when one's nervous system is overtaxed or overwhelmed by life's transitions. Nettle supports the nervous system in a balancing way, helping to fortify and nourish it, especially in times of exhaustion or depletion, which I would say a lot of us encounter. It provides a gentle yet potent tonic for those who are feeling weak, drained, or disconnected from their sense of vitality. I find it particularly helpful for those who are perhaps anemic, my vegan or vegetarian friends, as a tonic to support their way of life. Its nourishing properties can restore equilibrium to a system that has been thrown out of balance, such as in chronic stress, burnout, or deep emotional turmoil. It is a very potent herbal ally. It's a powerhouse herb known for its high mineral content and specific support for the kidneys. Its leaves are rich in iron, making them a valuable ally in addressing fatigue, anemia, and states of malnourishment, especially when mineral deficiencies are present. The root of nettle often targeted offers targeted support for prostate health and helps alleviate pelvic congestion, while the seeds serve as a gentle adaptogen, particularly beneficial during burnout and exhaustion brought on by chronic stress and overwork, which I know that many of us are prone to. An ancient practice called urtication, lightly stinging the skin with fresh nettles, stimulates circulation, providing relief for arthritic discomfort and helping to restore sensation to numb areas through its revivification action. Urtication remains a common practice today, with clinical research exploring its potential benefits for various health concerns such as seasonal allergies, rheumatism, eczema, anemia, bleeding internal and external, and of course, acute arthritis. Beyond these targeted cases, nettle deeply nourishes and revitalizes the entire system, offering robust support to the blood and serving as an alternative, which again is having a steady, moderate, reliable, and long term effect on specific organ systems or the entire body. It improves the assimilation of nutrients, enhances detoxification, corrects bad blood syndrome that aids in detoxifying the body. It's often embraced as a spring tonic, helping the body reset after a winter diet of heavier foods like roots, grains, and meats. I don't know about you, but I don't do a lot of salads in the winter. Too many cold things. Do more warm, heavier soups, stews type things in the winter. So, again, where I really turn to Nettle as I transition into spring, just really helpful for those types of things. So, resiliency, protection, and ancestral connection. In the relentless pace of modern life, nettle seed offers gentle support as an adaptogen, helping to replenish energy reserves and ease the burden of burnout and fatigue. Spiritually, nettle carries rich symbolism rooted in resilience and protection. In Druidic tradition, it was revered for its ability to guard against negative energy, often used in purification rites to clear and sanctify spaces. Um, there's even like research that it's played a role in dream work. There are people that would walk across nettle fields barefoot to prepare for dreams and journeys. So I find that's just amazing. Um, Nettle weaves its way through folklore, most notably in Hans Christian Andersen's The 12 Wild Swans, where the princess crafts protective clothes for the brothers from the nettle fibers. Um, Guided by a mysterious fairy, she gathers the nettles from the graveyard at night. I find this is a powerful metaphor for the nettle's deep ancestral ties. This act suggests nettles potential to help us connect with the past and mend generational wounds and restore the broken threads of lineages. And I believe that there is a specific tribe, and I think it's Kiowasu people who were the ones that played a role in working with nettle for dream work and were the ones that walked barefoot through the nettle fields. And if I pronounced that wrong, I do apologize. So, culinary quests. Nettles must be cooked or boiled before consuming. The fresh plant can sting if it's eaten raw. Once cooked, the leaves have the flavor of spinach and are rich in vitamins A and C, along with other key nutrients. Even dried nettle leaves can cause a mild sting unless cooked, but they are versatile and can be easily added to soups, stews, broth, risottos, and even baked goods like cookies or beverages such as nettle chai. Historically, nettles were an important food and medicinal plant. In ancient Ireland, nettles were combined with oatmeal to create a porridge called brockentog. And I know I butchered that, so that's why it's on the screen for you, because somebody who can actually speak Irish would be able to pronounce that better than I. Well, in French, cheesemakers discovered that a nettle leaf decoction could curdle milk, serving as a natural alternative to rennet. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right either. Nettle also weaves its way through folklore, and we actually covered that already. Um, where we talked about the fibers, which I, again, just think it's amazing for us to be able to reconnect with our generational stories, to be able to connect to our lineage in that way. There are some potential drug interactions to be aware of. Stinging nettle is a highly supportive herb for many individuals, but it's important to approach it with care and awareness of its potential effects. Its drying in nature makes it wise to pair with moistening herbs in formulations, especially for those with dry constitutions. That would be me. So I do need to make sure that I pair it with something like a violet, or I sometimes make sure that I've got maybe a cold infusion of marshmallow root that I have separately later in the day. Too much of a drying herb on me does have some undesirable side effects or undesirable consequences. While generally safe when used appropriately, handling fresh nettle can cause skin irritation, which is obviously the irritation that we talked about, due to its stinging hairs. Additionally, nettles should never be applied to open wounds. When harvesting nettles, avoid overly mature plants as they can produce calcium carbonate crystals that may irritate the kidneys. So, you always want to opt for younger, vibrant leaves to ensure safe and effective use. As with any herb, moderation and mindful use are recommended to ensure its benefits align with the individual needs and health conditions. While herbs can offer powerful support for overall wellness, it's essential to remember that every body is unique and individual responses to herbs can vary. Some herbs may interact with medications or pre existing health conditions, potentially causing unwanted effects. Therefore, before introducing any herbal preparations, whether teas, tinctures, extracts, or capsules, into your routine, it's wise to consult both a trusted medical professional and an experienced herbal practitioner. This is especially important if you are pregnant, nursing, or trying to conceive. If you have a chronic health condition or undergoing treatment for a serious illness, or if you are taking prescription medications or certain herbs may amplify or reduce their effects. So, some seasonal wisdom of nettle is that it is a perfect ally for spring as the earth begins to awaken from the dormancy of winter. Spring invites us to gently clear away what no longer serves us and prepare for new growth. Nettle, with its alternative properties, support this natural cycle of renewal by helping the body detoxify, cleanse, and nourish itself after months of heavier winter fare. It assists the liver, kidneys, and blood in making it an ideal spring tonic for those seeking to realign with the rhythms of the season. Nettle encourages folks to be intentional about what they carry forward and what they release. Just as nettle clears out accumulated toxins in the body, spring offers an opportunity to curate our inner and outer environments, thoughts, habits, and relationships by letting go of the stagnant and embracing the fresh. Emotionally, nettle helps restore energy depleted by stress, making space for collaboration with ourselves, others, and the emerging season. Energetically, nettle embodies boundaries and resilience, two vital elements when working with the ever shifting dynamics of springtime. Its stinging hairs remind us to honor our limits while offering nourishment when approached with care. By working with nettle in tea, infusions, or tinctures, folks can access its grounding yet revitalizing energy to fuel creativity, foster community, and sip into spring with clarity and strength. So, this slide holds a whole bunch of online resources. Some of these are behind paywalls because they're courses and things like that I've taken. A lot of them are not. A lot of them are things that you can just kind of go out there and look up the links yourselves and find out additional information. But thank you very much. Stay curious. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Until next time, bye.